Me for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Next item is the approval of the minutes from the May 3rd meeting.
Mr. President, I move that we approve the minutes as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that passes. All right, accounts payable vouchers.
Mr. President, I'd like to recommend the claims from May 7th through May 17th, 2021 be approved without exception.
Mr. President, I move for approval as submitted.
Second.
All in favor say aye. Those opposed, that passes. And then payroll.
And Mr. President, I would also like to recommend the payroll dated May 17th, 2021, or I'm sorry, May 14th, 2021 be approved without exception.
Mr. President, move for approval as submitted.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that passes. All right. Then we have an appointment to the Public Defender Commission.
Mr. President, I move that we appoint Mr. Jefferson Kemper as be our appointment to the Public Defender Commission.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to appoint Mr. Kemper to represent us on the Public Defender Commission. Any further discussion?
Is it really Jefferson?
Jeff.
Jeff. Okay. All right.
John Kanako always called him Jefferson, so I wanted to reminisce a little.
Okay, thank you for your continued service on that board. I know you've been on there for a while, so, okay. All right, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed, that passes. All right. Health Department. Are you covering it, Kayla?
You'll need to
Oh.
push.
Push the button.
Yeah, sorry. It's for the contract for Gateway to Hope for a recovery coach. Just an add a recovery coach from the Drug Free Coalition money. So it'd be part-time, grant funded
Just as needed.
as needed, yeah, and also to go to community corrections. The amount of people that we're seeing is a little more than one recovery coach can handle as we've grown.
Mr. President, I would move that we approve the professional services contract for recovery coach for Jordan Kern at $20 an hour, not to exceed $7,800.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye. Those opposed, that passes.
Thank you.
And if you can help us again.
Yeah,
get that
I'm working
signed.
on it, I
Okay.
promise.
All right, thank you. All right, it looks like we have a resolution in regard to virtual attendance of members. Mr. Masson?
Yeah, so this is a resolution that allows you to conduct meeting or to have some members attend virtually. It's triggered by some legislation passed by the General Assembly this year. It does not apply to public health emergency situations, which is what we've seen mostly this year. This is just in the normal course of business. It tracks the statute. It says that a member of the board can meet by electronic means. The critical piece of that is that the person has to be able to be heard, to communicate at the same time as one another. So you can't just have, relayed phones. Somebody has to be able to hear you all at the same time, and you need to be able to talk to that person all at the same time. The person's considered present for purposes of determining a quorum. They can't participate in final action unless they can be both seen and heard. So there'd be a video requirement if they were, when it came to a vote. They'd have to, the minutes have to reflect the virtual attendance. The votes would have to be taken by roll call. least 50% have to be there in person. And there's certain things they can't participate virtually from. The General Assembly wants them to feel the heat in person. If it's a final action to adopt a budget, reduction in personnel, initiate a referendum, establish or increase a fee, penalty, use eminent domain, establish or raise or renew a tax. And none of this is sort of invented by you. This is all kind of in the statute. And so I also threw something in there that says that the statute governs in the event of a conflict.
Okay. Questions in regard to that resolution?
No, sir, I would, Mr. President, I would move adoption of resolution number 2021-16-CM as outlined by council.
Second.
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. Okay. Professional services agreement with Dossett. Bob, do you want to handle that?
Yeah, we've had a professional services agreement with Dossett Consulting for, I believe, just the last 3 years. It was Maximus before that. And what they do is they help us get federal reimbursements for 4D. And for the general fund receives about $1.3 million a year. We've had a 3-year contract, and I believe on this contract, there's a choice of a 1-year or a 3-year. And I would recommend we go with the 3-year. I believe it's $200 more per year than what we had previously, but it's still, a really good deal for the county.
And just one question, this may be for Doug. I know that there was a string of emails going back and forth, but I did notice that the additional terms and conditions was not signed by Mr.
Right.
Dossett. Is
So
it
the version you have should have incorporated it into the body of the agreement.
So
there
this
should
is
just
not
be one.
necessary.
Correct.
Okay, so I can take that off.
Right.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay.
Mr. President, I move that we approve this agreement to provide professional consulting services with Dossett Consulting and going with the 3-year extension.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any further discussion on that? Hearing none, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. All right. Looks like we have 2 applications to the villa.
Mr. President, I move that we accept Mr. Howard James Pearson and a Mr. James D. Peer to our Tippecanoe Villa.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. All right, grants. Sharon?
Morning.
Morning.
I'd like permission to accept 2 grants from the Health Department. They've received from the Indiana Department of Health. The first one was in $57,038.38. This will be used for operating expenses of the vaccination clinic. They'll be invoicing them for 3 months, and then that funding will be completed. It needed to be spent by June 30th of 2021. So that contract will be completed before June 30th, 2021.
Do we think that's possible? Do we have enough expenses to cover that?
Yes, we do with the temp agency and then the expense of the drive-through clinic and the materials that have had to be bought. They're very generous on what you can put down for the expenses. They're just trying to,
And it goes back to March 25th to June 30th.
yeah. It's late getting to us, but we can go back.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Mr. President, I would move that we grant permission to accept both grants as outlined by Sharon.
Just the first one.
I'm sorry. So it'll be the one for 57,000.
Yes, please.
Second.
Okay, so we had a motion, a second. And I'm sorry, your motion was to exclude the,
Let's, we'll just, do you want to break them apart?
I would probably break them apart. if I
Okay.
was you.
okay, but I'm sorry, which one was the motion for?
57.
The 57 first?
Mr. President, I would move to change my motion and amend it to reflect that we are granting permission to accept the grant for the vaccine clinic in the amount of $57,038.38.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes.
So the second contract is, they've labeled it under immunization, but it has to do with the COVID-19 vaccinations as well. And it's in the amount of $389,641.82. And that one will be for contract hiring employees. And hopefully she will go before the commissioners for a new position for one new employee. And this one runs through June of 2022. This specific contract does.
So this is not limited to just the COVID vaccine. This is limited to, or this is for all immunizations.
COVID.
Oh, it's
immunization.
The
Just
scope of
COVID.
work does say COVID.
Yes,
Oh, it is just
to
COVID.
do, outlined it out that we have to audit all COVID-19 vaccine sites in the county, mobile clinics, like a media campaign are just a few of the things that they've outlined.
And the new employee will be related to COVID as a
Yes,
case.
yes. She's a EMT. She is right now currently actually a or a contact tracer, but we've been using her because she is an EMT for the homebound, because you have to have an EMT to do the homebound, and none of the EMTs in our community could do that. So we were lucky that we had her. So to keep doing that, we'll hire her. And then just so that you're aware, there are 2 more of these in 18 months. So in another 18 months, we'll get another same amount of money through June 2024. Yeah. So we'll get 3 of these essentially with this much money.
Mr. President, I move that we grant permission to accept for the health department as stated.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. All right.
And the last, that's fine. I'm done with you. The last I have is a contract for our Phase 3 Oak Ridge, the COVID funding to put up the Wi-Fi, the free Wi-Fi spots. And we solicited for the grant administrator. We had 1 application, and that was with Klein Peter. So I have the contract in front of you for the consulting group to carry out the grant administration of that Okra funding.
Mr. President, I'd move for approval of the MOU contract with Klein Peter Consulting Group.
Second.
All right. All in favor, say aye. Those opposed? That passes. And
Thank you.
Sharon, just to clarify, we do not need to sign anything on the 2 permissions.
Correct. No,
Okay,
those you
okay.
don't. But I do have the signature for the other contract from Kayla earlier. I'll run over and get it and bring it back to you.
Oh, okay, for the personal services. Okay, okay. All right, we have change orders from the fairgrounds.
The first one is from Mulhops Inc. This was to add 2 more ADA door openers in between the east and west wings. So I would move that we approve this change order in the amount of $9,274 with Mulhops.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve those 2 change orders. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That
And
passes.
and then the other change order is
sorry.
New Era Technology. This was adding some additional data station to the fairgrounds because of all the security and things we're bringing in. And that was an increase of $2,488.99. Move that we approve that.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. I'm sorry, my previous comment, I said we were doing both of those at once, so that was my fault. All in favor of that motion, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. Now, we have 2 from TCCO. These are both requests from Maintenance Director Dildine for future maintenance issues, to make those maintenance issues easier. The first one involves roof projects that adds new ladders to provide access to the different sections of the roof of that building, to move an existing ladder, and to add 45 walk pads to protect the new roof up there for a total of $11,650. I would recommend approval for that.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye. Those opposed, that passes. And the second one is constructions of a new maintenance area within the first floor there in the former men's locker room area to secure some electrical panels and data lines and what have you for a total of $3,952. Recommend approval.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. All right, reports on file. We have a quarterly corner report on file, Tippecanoe County Public Library, Crystal Creek Boarding Kennel monthly report, Clerk of the Circuit Court, County Treasurer, and Central Mail and Duplicating report. Unfinished items, I do have one. I may have Doug just give us a brief synopsis. This is an approval for a disbursement request, and this has to do with our bot project. So we'll be seeing these on a regular basis as that project moves forward. If you just kind of would explain what those.
Yeah, so this is under the way the bot transaction is structured. And this is for the public safety improvement project at community corrections and the jail. Trying to remember the contractor. It's Greg Martz, GM Development LLC is the owner of the improvements. They are technically the entity who was loaned money to build this. Eventually, we're going to be paying rent payments on a semi-annual basis starting in 2022, I think. But right now, the pot of money, the loan money is sitting at Huntington Bank, and their requirement for their escrow agreement is that we approve disbursements. So GM Properties are never going to get that right, but they make the request and sign off on the disbursement request, and we approve that. So these are construction costs, basically.
And these are design fees and performance bond for Hagerman and the design fees for Train for the solar array at that project. I'll entertain a motion to approve that disbursement request.
So move.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? That passes. All right. Is there any public comment before we go into the public hearing?
We're adjourning.
Yes, so we need to,
Okay, I'll move that we adjourn.
Second.
all right, we're adjourned. And then Sharon, the public hearing was scheduled to start, where's Sharon? At 10:30? Okay.
You still have